A very pleasant good morning to all of you out there. Glad to see you here, and thank you so very much for taking your time off your busy schedule to join us on this formal Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl kickoff press conference. I would ask you at this time, please, would you mute all your cell phones? It's important. The way we operate this kickoff press conference is that all the questions will be asked from the floor up to the dais. The coaches and the players will answer all your questions up here. There will be no one-on-ones at the conclusion of this press conference, okay? As you can see, we have the visiting team, Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
That is really a shame.
I mean, it really is. This is the meeting.
Yeah, you know.
Entertainment capital.
They're going to ask you all the questions now, Coach.
That's a shame.
Sun Devils are our visiting team in this, the Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl, and the home team, actually from the Pac-12 and from the Mountain West Conference, the Fresno State Bulldogs. So we're going to get things started the way we work here. This gentleman, of course, as you can see, he's very comfortable here. He's no stranger to this bowl. In fact, just a couple of years ago, we were thoroughly thrilled and honored to have him as our featured speaker. So at this time, I'd like to welcome you, the head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils, Coach Herm Edwards.
Well, you're nice to say that, and obviously I was excited about participating in the bowl as a guest speaker. Trent Dilford is doing it this year. He's a Fresno Bulldog. He is one of my best friends. Trent Dilford played for us in Tampa Bay, so I can't wait to see what he says today at the luncheon. With that being said, I think our team is really excited about being a part of the bowl festivities this year. We're playing a very, very talented football team, coached by one of the better college coaches in football. I met Coach, I don't know, Coach what, 8, 9 years ago probably, or something like that? 10 years ago, maybe?
Probably longer than that. Time flies. We're getting old, Herm. We're getting old.
We just put them together. Obviously, I went to Cal. When I first came out of high school, and Coach was up at the University of California, Berkeley, coaching, did a great job up there. Has done a really terrific job with Fresno State, really has turned that program around. One of the better college football teams in the country. They're ranked 21st for a reason. They play complementary football, really good on defense, stingy on defense, good tacklers, don't give up a lot of points. Situation football is excellent for them on the defensive side of it. Third downs and in the red zone, not allowing you to score. Have a very explosive offense. Have a gifted quarterback that can make plays with his legs as well as his arms. So they're very explosive, very well coached football team. As I said, when you win 11 games, that says something about who you are and what you've done and what you've accomplished. So we're excited about playing. I think both parties probably after this point have been practicing and waiting for a football game, and we finally get to kick it off tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach. Any questions for Coach Edwards?
This is the easy group.
What's this week been like for you taking this all?
Well, I think it's a culmination of your season, and you've had some type of success. This is the first time that our whole team has actually traveled, and that's new for us because generally on the road we travel 70. Now our whole team got to participate. You get some extra practices in, which I think are good. But I think that how do we handle when you go to a bowl? And I think these guys have been fortunate. Some of the seniors, they've gone to numerous bowls, so that helps you when you have a group of guys that have participated because it can get away from you as far as the idle time they have between the practice and what they do, and then it can really get away from you in Las Vegas, right? So, but I think the seniors help you, and I think the code of conduct, both these universities are representing their universities in Las Vegas, and I think Coach, as well as I feel, it's about the game of football and how you go about it. When you come into a city, you represent that university's name. You represent the football program, and you want to do things right. You can have fun, but you can't go over the line. And I think both teams have done an excellent job of that this week. Yes, sir.
Coach Christopher Gabriel, 940 ESPN in Fresno. You said in your introductory presser in Tempe that you
I have a hit left.
Yes, indeed.
You don't want it, do you?
No, not
Okay, good. All right, I'm just checking.
What was the greatest challenge for you, sir? Was it
Coaching a group of young men you hadn't coached for a while, or was it winning over the Arizona State family?
It was building trust amongst your coaching staff and your players. You know, that's what coaching is about. It's about trust. And how do you do that? You know, when you become a head coach, it's a job of service. You actually serve them. They don't serve you. That has always been my way of going about doing things. And so with that being said, you know, players like anyone else and coaches want consistency. They want to know how are you going to be not after the press conference, but after your first loss or after your first win. All those things, they want consistency. They want to see how you function. Well, you got to earn that. And it's done by your words and your actions. They got to match up. We have a saying, words and actions, they match up every day. And if you can do that, you build trust. And so that was probably not the most difficult thing, but the thing that I was most excited about. Yes, sir.
how do you sort of balance bowl prep between player development with some of the younger guys and game planning for Christmas Day?
Well, there's a few young players that will have the opportunity to play, and I think that's what's so unique about the bowl participation. You have some young players. Now, we don't have a roster full of guys at this point in time that we can develop. We're trying to do that through the recruiting process. But there will be some young guys that haven't played a lot of football that will get an opportunity to play in this game. And I think it's important because you're looking at next year as well, and you want to see them in live action all of a sudden. Some of these guys haven't played a whole lot. I think the 4-game rule has helped a lot of young players in college football now. You have the ability to play 4 games with players and still consider a redshirt year. So we've done that due diligently wise and put some players in position where they'll have an opportunity to play. Some freshman guys actually have an opportunity to play in this game, which will help us evaluate them.
You got a lot of contributions from freshmen, especially on defense.
Yeah, 5 of them.
The level of development physically and football knowledge of high school players, is it way beyond what you expected?
Well, I think like anything else, like in professional football, by week 8 they hit the wall. I think in high school football as well, you know, they go from high school to college, and all of a sudden the competition is much steeper, and the players are better. You go from a 17, 18-year-old kid playing a senior in college football. Well, there's a different development there. Now, talent-wise, I mean, talent is one thing, but as far as experience and how to take care of yourself and how you go through school all of a sudden and then go to practice, that weighs on young guys, and you could see that happen to a lot of our freshmen. You know, they were asked to play a lot, and no one anticipated they would play that much. We knew we'd have a young team. We had 5 freshmen starting on defense. Well, that's a load for young guys, and they handle it pretty well, but it's tough.
Coach Rick for ABC finished. You talked Monday about the road trip.
And now you're on buses. How did it go? You got your milkshake, you got the burgers. How did it go?
As long as I got my milkshake, we were good. I thought it was fun. I think the players had fun. Coach, his team rolled over on the bus as well. We're old school coaches, so we figured that thing out. We'll go on the bus. We're good. But we had a good time, you know. And I think it brings camaraderie with your football team, and that's not always being done anymore. You know, you get places pretty fast. But I just thought the bus ride was good. The hamburger was good. The milkshake was good, and the ride was good. I think it was fitting that we drove over Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge. It was a silent moment on all those buses, you know. We know a lot about Pat Tillman. It was kind of unique to go across that bridge.
Mark Peterson, Las Vegas Journal. This bowl is going to change in a couple of years. It could be a higher seed effect. Well, I guess a higher seed in the SEC, Big Ten, whatever. Do you think if that's the case, it'll be less likely players will skip this game?
I don't know that. I think every player's unique. They have a right to make that decision. I think most head coaches realize that. I realized that when I was on television. This is still a business for a lot of these young players. They know that their life's work is still ahead of them, and if they have an opportunity to play pro football, good for them. I say that as a former pro football player. I know how difficult it is to play on that stage. And I think as we see it now, you know, a lot of these guys opt to not play. And whatever bowl game it may be, I don't know. That's up to the player, I think. But you have to have that conversation with players you know that will be drafted. I had that conversation with Nikhil long before this game even appeared, what we were going to do if we got in the bowl. So he made the right decision for him, and we understood that. And it started with the AD and myself, and he's here. He's actually here. He'll be standing on the sideline with us, so he's part of our family.
Coach Willie Ramirez with the Las Vegas Associated Press. You're a coach that provides a lot of motivation and inspiration for your players. When you look back at your first season at ASU, what's been your motivation and inspiration and kept you motivated day in and day out?
My love affair with football. I've had a love affair with this game ever since I was able to play it. That never stopped. You know, once you put your feet on the grass as a player and you really understand what it takes to do this, you either really, really love it or you don't. I fell on the other side of the fence. I love it. And so it wasn't hard for me at all. I mean, I missed it when I was on television. I had opportunities to come back. It was never the right fit for me. This appeared it was the right fit. And I can't tell you how much I missed it, and the fact that speaking to these guys, when I was going to talk to them the first time being their head coach, I was struggling what to say. It took me 2 days to figure it out. My wife probably hit me on my head. She said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Just be you. Just go talk to him." And it worked out okay. But, you know, when you've been in football your whole life, and that's all I've ever done, as a young guy growing up, was able to achieve a scholarship and then go into pro football and stay there 30 years, you live in a bubble your whole life. You do as a football coach, as a football player. That's the world you live in. The outside world is out there, but it really doesn't affect you a whole lot because you're a part of a team, you're a part of a family. And every year there's a different journey. There's a different opportunity to achieve something as a team. That means something to me. That's important. You know, the relationships you make in football. As I said, I met Coach when he was at Cal. I mean, Trent Dilford, who's speaking today. We coached Trent at Tampa. I mean, all the relationship. These two young men up here, I'll have relationships with these two young guys the rest of my life. And so that's what football presents, you know, the life skills it teaches all of us. Without football, I'm not sitting here, period. Football provided me a way to get an opportunity to get out of the situation that I grew up in. And I think we have to understand that. That's why I'm so passionate about the game, and I want it coached right and played right, because it's important for the next generation that follows us. We are all ambassadors for this great game called football, and it's a wonderful game. It really is.
Okay, one more question? We're going there next. So you want to wait? Okay. Yes, down at the far end down there is ASU's quarterback, Manny Wilkins, and I'll start things off. I have a question for you, Manny. Now, you've had a heck of a career over there in Tempe, and, you know, now you're approaching the last time as a collegiate playing for the Sun Devils, and I'd like to know how important that is to you. One, the last game. Two, to get a win in this bowl.
Yeah, it's been one long journey. It's been an honor to be the leader of this football team for 3 years, but chapters come to an end. Every book has an ending, and I'm really excited for the future of this program. I know the leadership is in the correct direction. We got the right pieces in the correct places, and it's just about staying the course, and these young guys are going to come in here and have to play, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the last game. I'm not going to be emotional as I was my last home game and the U of A game, but it's a good opportunity for us to play one game together and finish this thing strong.
Great. I'm going to ask, you know, there was Sun Devils running back question, and then y'all can ask all the questions of the two Sun Devil players. You know, you're approaching, and I'm sure you're very much aware of this, a single-season rushing record tomorrow. And you'll have to do it against one of the best defenses in college football, very stingy defense, I might add. Now, I know that you've logged a lot of time in the film room looking at film. What impresses you most about the Bulldog defense?
Their defense, they're coached by a good person, like Coach Herm said. They're very disciplined, like a Stanford team. Not the biggest, but they're tough, just like the team that we faced in San Diego State. And so I think we've done a good job of putting in some schemes to help us and just going out there and doing what we do.
Okay, questions for either of the ball players? Yes, sir.
Hey, Manny, Shane Daly, ABC. Just, how long did you enjoy the win into the season? And how do you like Minnesota focus on this emotional?
We had a little break after that game for finals week. I went out for the first time after the U of A game with my teammates. I don't really go out during the season, but they got me to go out after the U of A game. So that was my celebration, but just another game.
Vern talked about the decision of McKeel not playing the ball game. There was a ball game that was decided weeks ago. Did you also kind of prepare mentally, so to speak, for that scenario weeks ago?
What do you prepare for what?
I mean, prepare that if it would be a ball game, the last game at ASU was to be without McKeel there. Is that something you also saw weeks before it happened?
I mean, like he said, you know, he had to make a decision that was going to be the best decision for him. And he was hitting me up for, you know, advice and all this stuff, and I simply told him, listen, you got to trust your gut. You got to trust what you feel is right. Don't feel like you owe anybody anything because you put yourself in this position to have an opportunity to go to the next level and be a top draft pick. So, listen, if people are going to question his heart for not playing in this bowl game, I'll be the first to tell you he's one of the hardest working, most humble people I've ever been around. And all these blessings that are about to come to him, he's earned and deserved it. So I'm just happy for him and the opportunity that he has.
For both Manny and Eno, how's Las Vegas been this week?
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. I think the best thing that can reflect what our team has done is we haven't had any issues. So that's something that we came here was Sin City, a lot of opportunities for distractions. Many opportunities for distractions, actually, and they relied on the seniors. We didn't need coaches to, you know, rip anybody or do anything. That's on the leaders of this football team to control how your team handles, you know, freedom. So we handled it well.
Me, I'm not old enough to do anything, so I was laying low for the week. I was laying low. Really just a testament of the work that we put in as a group offensively. Offensive line has done a great job. I spent quite a bit of time with them, and just the fact that we're on the same page and they're able to digest what I'm telling them and what I'm seeing on the field to help open bigger runs and just make things flow easier for us as me as a running back and Manny as a quarterback.
What do you mean?
You actually shaking your head, kind of acknowledging when he was talking about how much you love the game. You really have to love it. You either love it or you don't. How much do you love football?
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you watch how I played this game and the competitiveness that I played this game with, I think it speaks for itself. So I've always been someone where, I mean, here and there you got to talk a little bit on the field, you know, just to do it, just because that's how, you know, competitive people play. But I don't got to do too much talking. I just look them in their eyes and, you know, let them know what type of time I'm on.
Any more questions for the players from ASU? All right, allow me, please, to move over to the home team for this contest. From Fresno State, the Bulldogs, Mountain West Conference champions. And this gentleman has had 2 years that have been incredible. They are the champions of the Mountain West Conference, and it's a pleasure to introduce the head football coach of Arizona State, Jeff Tedford.
Fresno State.
Excuse me, Fresno State.
That's all right.
My apologies.
I
Coach.
get it, no problem. Great to be here. We're honored and blessed to be here representing the Mountain West Conference and our university. Great honor to win our championship of our league. Very competitive all year long. As far as every week there's a new challenge. And for our group of young men to be able to go 2 seasons and be able to finally accomplish that goal, which is one of our goals going in always. I would say last week when we won the championship game, I thought it was, and I heard our players talk about what it meant to them. After just 2 short years ago, they only had 1 win. And I thought it was a life lesson. And, in 2 years to win 21 games, I thought it was a life lesson of what perseverance is all about and trust. And Herm talked about it. And I think anytime you bring in a new staff, especially to a program that had only won 1 game, the main objectives are trust and confidence. And to build that confidence back is something that happens daily. Trust, I'm with Herm 100% on that's what's important. And you can talk about trust as much as you want to talk about it, but it comes down to taking care of the players and everything that they do, being engaged in their academics, being engaged in their nutrition, understanding what's going on in their lives, all the little things that they know that you care about them. And so I'm really proud of this group on that they trusted the process that we had. And they didn't know us from Adam 2 years ago. And played well last year, but you know, it's a little bit different when you go in as underdogs a year ago after winning 1 game, and then all of a sudden you win 10, and now all of a sudden you have the target on your chest every single week. And I thought our kids handled it really, really well. And the dedication, the work ethic, the things that they do, not just on the football field, and I tell them this all the time, it's, yeah, we're proud of your wins, but it's as much about your character and your class and your integrity and what you do in the classroom, how you treat people, how you're humble, all those type of things means a lot. And so really proud of this group. We understand going into this game, we're playing a great football team, very well coached in all areas of the game, very explosive. It's going to be a battle. We understand that. We have a lot of respect for the Pac-12 Conference and Arizona State. And, you know, they play very, very hard. You know, when you talk about close games on how seasons can tip very easily on just a play here or play there, they haven't lost a game by more than a touchdown. And so they're in every single game that they play in a very, very difficult conference. Having coached in that conference for 11 years, I know what it's like to try to win every single week in that conference, and it's very difficult to do. And for them to do what they did this year and be right there in every single football game, they've done a phenomenal job, and my hat's off to Herm and his team for what they've accomplished. So we've had a good week. You know, we're a little bit different in that we played a championship game just a week ago, so this was more of a bye for us. We only got 6 practices really in because last week we had to get out to recruit, given the date of our championship game, and then make the trip and those type of things. We're in finals, and so this week there's been a lot of things going on. We have study sessions from 8 to 10 in the morning. We have another study session from 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning because finals are right around the corner. So our kids are doing a good job of balancing a lot of things right now, but I think they've really handled the week well and has stayed focused on the job at hand, and that's preparing to try to be successful against a great football team.
Questions now for Coach Tedford.
Jeff, you've been through a bunch of these bowl games. What sort of impact do you think the redshirt rule is going to have for your team tomorrow and then on the bigger bowl landscape?
Yeah, I think the rule is a great rule. It will fit us in a couple areas, mainly with special teams of trying to get some young guys in there to give some, you know, you get to this point, you don't have really a lot of time to recover from things because we just played in the game, you know, 2 weeks ago. And so, but some guys will fit in there for us that maybe we banked a game for here or there. And so they've played, they won't be completely new to the game because they played a few games through the year, but then we kind of put them on the shelf for a game. Hopefully, if we made a bowl game, that they could make a contribution that way. But I think it's a great rule. I really do. And my hat's off to the NCAA for implementing it because I think, you know, kids deserve to have the opportunity to play throughout the year. You know, it depends on what goes on with your team. You know, injuries go up and down and back and forth and things like that. And so I think it's really helped the quality of the game.
Coach Chris from ABC 30 and Fresno. Why do you love the game? They talk about why they love the game. What's your love affair with football?
My love affair with football is very similar to Herm's. You know, without football, I don't know where I would be. You know, played football since I was 8 years old, and was very fortunate to be able to coach this game. And I had a little bit of a break. I wasn't the movie star that Herm was.
It's way overrated, Coach. Too much makeup doing that stuff. Way overrated, Coach.
You know, I was a little bit more low-key, but, you know, the thing behind the scenes of missing the players and the relationships with the players, I think that's really what it all comes down to being able to play a role in people's lives and have relationships that last a lifetime. And there were years ago when I was in the NFL and I had a little health issue, and all my former players would call back and things like that. You know, I mean, it was really pretty special to hear from them. And Herm's right on when he says the relationships that you build with these guys last a lifetime. You know, makes me feel really old though, because some of the kids I coached before, now I'm recruiting their kids, so it makes me feel old. But that's what's awesome, is to see some of you players that you coach early in your career, and you see them grow and you see them develop and have families and become great fathers and husbands and have careers and all those type of things. I think there's a lot of gratification that goes in. There's a lot more than just winning and losing football games, I will tell you that. There's a lot of gratification that goes into being a part of these guys' lives, and to see them grow and develop and move on and be successful in whatever field. It doesn't have to be NFL guys. You know, yeah, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of NFL guys, but more than that, just kids who grew up and are successful and take the right values away from our program. And I don't think there's anything more gratifying than when they come back, because when they're in college, sometimes you have to be the disciplinarian and try to teach certain things. And then when they come back later on and say, Coach, all those things we're implementing in our life and our business, whatever it may be, that's what it's all about.
What direction would you like to see the Mountain West go as far as winning Spurs and his champion? What kind of considerations?
I don't know. That's not my deal. That's you know, that's a conference. The alignment of bowls and all that kind of stuff. You know, I have not sat down and thought about that, so I wouldn't be educated enough to answer that question realistically. You know, I think it's always a moving target on what happens. I think there's some teams out there that can compete with any team in the country, but I don't know. I think those are for the presidents, those are for the commissioners of the conferences and things like that. But I really don't. You know, I'm in no position to be given direction on how this all should play out.
Coach, just curious, it's your second trip to Vegas in roughly a month. Does it make it a little bit simpler to prepare to come to a city like Las Vegas, plus the familiarity with Sandboy Stadium? Does it make it simpler for this trip, albeit it's for the Las Vegas Bowl?
Not really, you know, because except for maybe when we get there, we know the field and we know what the locker room looks like, you know, and that's about it. But being here for a week, again, is a lot different than flying in the day before the game and turning around and playing and going home, you know. So, but it's been a great week. Yeah, it really has. I'm so impressed and so thankful to all the bowl people who have been so hospitable with everything. It's been first class all the way. The events have been great, well timed. Sometimes you go to bowl games and you're just overwhelmed with the schedule, and I think the schedule's been perfect as far as how we manage it, because like I said, we have a lot of things that we're trying to manage right now with academics and preparation, and still make it an enjoyable week where the kids can enjoy the experience, the bowl experience, which I think they have. And you know, but I don't think there's any real advantage, you know, because we've been here for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days now, you know, so it's a little different than what goes on when you fly in, you play, and you leave.
Why has Marcus been so good at avoiding turnovers these past 2 seasons for you?
Well, I think Coach DeBoer does a great job, our offensive coordinator, of coaching him. And but I think mainly, I think more than anything, I think it's the lack of ego that Marcus has. You know, I think Marcus understands when to get rid of the football. We don't get sacked a lot, but that's not because we're the most dominant offensive line or the tight ends are the best pass protectors, or, you know, it's not that. It's Marcus makes really good decisions with just getting rid of the football. If it's not there, he's not the ego guy that's going to try to force things for his stats. He's still a 70% passer, but he throws the ball away a lot, you know, and understands to manage the game and really to stay on schedule and try not to get behind the sticks. Marcus understands that. And so I think more than anything, his ability to manage a football game and keep us in a position, hopefully, that we can try to convert and move the sticks, you know. But I think that has a lot to do with a guy who's just not trying to force the football because he wants his stats to be great. You know, he's a total team guy all the way.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk about you guys on the verge of winning the 12th game, first time in school history. Has that entered your psyche at all this week? You thought about those kind of things?
Well, I would be lying if I didn't say that to the team, but really it's about one game. You know, we just happen to be in a position, if we were fortunate to win a game, that it would equal 12. That's all that means. You know, it's not that we're going in with the pressure of winning 12 games or anything like that. We take each week one game at a time. We play a lot of quality opponents, and we try to go out and reach our full potential. And if we were fortunate to come out on the right side of this game, it would equal 12, and that would mean a lot to this team. That's not what we're playing for. You know, we're playing to do what we do all the time, and that's just try to be successful against a great football team, which we're going to have to play our best to have the opportunity to get a victory in this game, because we have a lot of respect for Arizona State. They're a great football team.
Coach, when Herm was announced as ASU's head coach, obviously a lot of skepticism. What was your reaction when you first coached?
When Herm was named the head coach at ASU, I thought, what is he thinking? I watch him on TV all the time. He's always got these fancy socks on. He's always doing some pretty cool stuff. You know, he's got a pretty good gig. No, I'm just kidding when I say that, because it's exactly what he said. You know, when you have football in your blood and you're able to have an opportunity to come back and assemble a staff. You know, we talk about the players. Yes, the players are the main objective, but when you can assemble a staff of great people that you're around every single day and you enjoy coming to work every single day, I think it's pretty special. You know, it's really hard to match the adrenaline, the enthusiasm, the ups and the downs, all the things that go on, you know, as a coach. Coaching's a big job, because there's a lot of moving pieces to it. A lot of people just see what's on the surface, but there's so much, or so many other things, so many people, you know, the support staffs that make practice run, you know, but Herm's been doing this a long time. He's been very successful. He's very well liked, and I think Herm stands for a lot of the right things. You know, when I watch other teams play on tape, I can kind of get a sense of how they're being coached, and I think that Arizona State gets coached with the discipline that you need to be coached with. I don't see late hits. I don't see hits out of bounds. I see people helping people up. I see respect for the game, and I truly believe that Herm has a respect for the game that he can pass on to his kid, to his players. And so it wasn't surprising to me that Herm got back into the game. Was that about right, Herm?
You got it right, Coach.
Okay.
I'll give you a little extra in your check this week. You did good.
Coach, when you watch this team on film, this Arizona State team, a team that you've not seen in person yet, what is the biggest challenge? Is it their speed at defensive back? Is it their size at the line of scrimmage? Is it their skill on offense?
All the above. All the above. They're very well coached, very good offensive line. I think the right side is I tried to count up the number of games that they've played, 32, 28, they're an experienced group up front. That guy right there running the football is really special. There's backs that can do one or two things really well, but he's a well-rounded back. He's a great back. Quarterback does a great job. Can beat you with his legs. Their defense plays very fast, very hard, very aggressive. Special teams, they're solid. So there's really no holes there, and so yeah, when you look at the thing and you see freshmen, they're not freshmen anymore. They've played 12 games or whatever, so they've had enough experience to where they're really, really good football players, and they're very well coached, and you can tell that they play really hard, and they don't beat themselves very often, so when you watch them on tape, you can tell that they're being taught the right things. At least in my opinion, they're being taught the right things, and that's how to play this game with integrity.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it. Let's move on to the Bulldog ball players. And down in the end, we have quarterback Marcus McMarion. And I'm going to piggyback on what Willie said a few minutes ago, Marcus. 6 weeks ago, you were on this same field, in this same stadium, playing UNLV. Do you think that familiarity helps you at all, just being there, or does it not?
I'd kind of say the same thing as Coach Tedford. I mean, it's a little different experience. I mean, we've been here for about 4 days. We're going to be here for a week, and the UNLV game's such a quick turnaround. I mean, we fly in the night before. We have our team dinner. We go through our meetings. We wake up, go to the game, and you fly home right after the game. So I wouldn't say it necessarily gives us an advantage outside of we know what sideline we're going to be on, and we know what locker room we're going to be in.
Okay. Appreciate that. Linebacker George Helmuth, 6 weeks ago, we had an opportunity to watch you play, and you could flat play. So obviously you've had time to study the Sun Devils in film sessions and what have you. What kind of challenges does the ASU offense pose for you?
They have an excellent offensive line, a lot of big guys up there. Manny does a great job with his arm, and he can hurt you with his legs. He's a very talented quarterback. But very talented back, always keeps his leg moving. Obviously, you all know he has a chance at the record, so that speaks for itself. So come Saturday, we'll have our work cut out for us.
Okay. Any questions for George or Marcus? Yes, sir.
Marcus, Francis, Phoenix, your relationship with Manny and his quarterbacks, how well do you know one another? You guys understood words and camps together, and just what do you see down there?
Yeah, I mean, we played together on DB Guru out of Fresno. We actually came out to Vegas when we were in high school and played on the little 7-on-7 out here. So I mean, it's just cool to kind of see it grow up with guys playing together in high school and then just kind of following each other's journey throughout college. Really, I mean, he's done amazing things at ASU. Definitely one of the better quarterbacks probably in history in his career. I couldn't throw out his numbers, but I know he's done some special things out there, and it's just a good feeling to see guys you grew up with having a lot of success.
George, Bulldogs are coming off an emotional victory that lets you guys accomplish your main goal of the season, which was winning the conference. As a team leader on defense, what do you do to make sure that the team hasn't emotionally peaked and you still have the necessary juice in this game on Saturday?
Well, Coach gave us a couple of days to enjoy the whole Mountain West Championship win, but after that, it was kind of back to work. We know what wins. We know what we have to do to help us win. So just kind of getting back to our regular schedule. We were lucky enough because of the whole bye week to get a bonus Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So just extra days to prepare for these guys.
For Marcus and George, the same question I asked those guys, your love affair with football, and why do you play the game, why do you love it?
The relationships you make through the game. Obviously, I'll miss the game and playing and everything, but I think the relationships. Something Coach Wick talks about. He says football locker room is one of the only places you'll be where everybody kind of has the same goal and everybody's rooting for each other. And once you get in the real world, obviously it's not the same case everywhere. But so just being grateful for that and all the relationships I've made while playing the game.
Yeah, I think just kind of piggybacking off that, I think just the fact that guys come from so many different backgrounds. I mean, whether that's financial stability, wherever you come from, diversity, ethnicities. I mean, we're all just coming together for a common goal. And I think just talking to guys that I played with in the past, they all talk about what they miss most is just the locker room talk and just the relationships we have. So that's definitely something I'm not gonna forget, and I'm gonna cherish it as long as I can.
Yes, ma'am.
George, you guys are coming off of a big win against Boise State, playing against Madison. How has going up against a running back like that prepared you for Benjamin?
They both do a lot of similar things. Madison's more of a bigger back, but Eno does more of a balance back. He's dangerous. He's hard to take down the open field. He always keeps his leg moving. I mean, he can run over you, he can jump over you, he can make you miss. So I think just all around, he's a little bit more dangerous. Not to say that Madison isn't. Madison's a load, and we played him twice, so I know. And but I guess it helps playing two talented backs, or playing a talented back like Madison helps you prepare a little bit more for Eno.
Sir?
I'd say the helicopter ride. I'd never been in a helicopter prior, and Manny was giving some great commentary over there, how scared he was during it. He was speaking my thoughts over there, so I was trying to be the tough guy on it. But yeah, that was definitely the best experience. I was more nervous. I thought the doors were going to be open. They weren't open, so I was excited about that, but it was a good experience.
What was he saying, though? You speaking your thoughts? What were those thoughts?
Land this thing.
Yeah, I'll let Manny answer that if you want to answer it.
Yeah, I'm not. The Space Needle or whatever it is, we went around it. What's it called? Stratosphere. Space Needle, that's in Seattle, huh? My bad, y'all. Off the record, that one. But we went around it, and we went left, and he turned the helicopter, and I was right next to the window, and he turned it to where it looked like I was like laying, looking out the window. I've seen too many movies, and I've watched too many like mess ups that I was like, yo, you gotta put this thing back straight.
Okay, and no more questions for the players and coaches. We certainly want to thank the players, the two coaches. Thank you so very much. That concludes the formal part. Now we got a few notes, quotes, and anecdotes for you up there. Those of you that are approved for game credentials and have not picked them up yet, right over there on that little trolley or whatever it is over there, the bowl staff will hook you up with your credentials in the back room. And also, if you are approved, you'll get your tickets to the luncheon from